All right, so per the request of you guys, I got to go on a little grocery run. So trying a new camera angle today. We'll see how it works out. And no music this time. I almost did that for my last edit, and I was like, yeah, trying something new. But thanks for the feedback in the comments. This one might be a little vlog style while I'm driving too. I can get you guys feedback if you want me to start doing these type of videos when I take the car out, depending on how the audio sounds in here. I still just got my basic setup that I'm trying to keep for a while, honestly. I don't want to keep investing in gear. I have some new rattles that I cannot figure out where they're coming from. And I feel like it's my console with that piece being off. So if you hear some rattles, that's why. One thing I want to talk through to see if any of you guys have this issue that are running the K-Tune shifter. I've had it for a while. I like it. I think it looks cool. But when I'm really getting on it and the car warms up and I've been driving for a while, it starts to stick or it gets sticky. That's probably the best way I can describe it, where it doesn't always like kick back into neutral like it used to. It feels kind of just slow when going into gears. It doesn't almost seem like it's quite in. I'm contemplating selling the K-Tune shifter and maybe going to Acuity. I've been kind of researching to see what people think about that particular shifter. But yeah, it's been really annoying recently. It's probably the only qualm that I've had with the car for modifications and stuff. Third gear. A comment sparked this, which I was thinking about this morning, but I think I haven't really talked about since that first video of kind of my goals for the car and whatnot. I enjoyed this car stock for a long time, and don't get me wrong, this car is actually really fun stock. Like, the horsepower is great for a daily driver. You could drive this stock for a long time and be pretty happy with it. But I did that for about 130,000 miles or so. And after a while, you just kind of want to start, the aftermarket community is so good for these cars. And little modifications really go a long way, like the suspension or the cold air intake, things like that. Just make it a little bit more fun. This car, like, whether they get more valuable or not, to me it makes no difference. If I'm going to buy a car, I'm going to buy it to drive. I'm not keeping it in the garage. I'm not trying to keep it 100% stock. To me, it's about the feeling that a car gives you when you're driving it. And that's the most important part. My goals for this car is to put my own aesthetic on it. I love design stuff. I love like 70s, 80s style Porsches. Just the simplicity, as you probably know, since I talk about minimalism, and that whole like simplistic design is definitely going to be a huge influence the more I fix this car up. And I have some plans in my head on the direction that I want to go, but am I trying to keep this like original interior and stuff like that? No. I'll probably get aftermarket seats eventually and make it more race car style for the street, but kind of bring in cars that have really influenced me growing up, like the iconic Ferrari F40, like I said, 70s, 80s Porsches, the Lotus Elise cars that are just kind of stripped on the inside, the very driver's focused feel. Those are my favorite kinds of cars. So if I hadn't answered that before, hopefully that gives you a little more perspective on kind of the direction that I want to take this car in. Making it lighter, making the handling better. I want to keep it NA. I like the reliability, and honestly, I don't need that much horsepower anyway. I think it's a lot more fun, being able to go or feel like you're going fast around a corner versus having a whole bunch of horsepower. Ideally, I'd love to get this thing up to like 250 horsepower. I think that'd be my sweet spot while continuing to make the car lighter too, but really don't need to do that much to it. But if you're looking to do a full build on it too, I mean, there's so many videos of guys like all-wheel drive swapping it and just turning it into a monster.
Let's go.
Distracted, missed my turn. I gotta say, this has been such a reliable car. Not only can you just beat on it and have fun that way, revving it out, the car just seems to love it, but it has never left me stranded. And I feel like the maintenance stuff that I've had to do on it has really just been basic maintenance, keeping up with oil changes. Yeah, like right now I can already feel, I haven't even been getting on it that hard. I can already feel the shifter kind of sticking a little bit, especially going back to neutral. Which is annoying that it's kind of sticky, because I did read some forums and they're like, oh, you know, every once in a while you gotta take the shifter out, remove all the grease that's in there, and kind of put some new grease in there to, I guess, re-lubricate it. Which I did. I bought the Lucas, I forget what it's called. It's red, it's like super thick and tacky. I actually called K-Tuned to see what grease they recommended. And they were saying like trailer hitch grease, anything that's like super thick and super tacky. I don't really understand. I just don't know if the exhaust is getting too hot underneath, and because the bottom of the car is just absorbing all the heat, which then goes into the shifter box. Which is kind of why I like the Acuity, because it seems like it sits off a little bit from the base. I don't know. I also don't want to make this thing too powerful either, because the torque steer to me, once you get all of that torque steer, that's not fun to me at all. If you're having to like fight the car to stay on the road, for me that's not fun. That's not usable power. I don't want to go fast in a straight line and just mash the gas and have to fight it or feel like it's just drifting off the side of the road. I like right now being able to just give it full throttle and it stays straight. And it's controllable. It's very usable for a daily driver. I got the same feeling when I went to Phoenix, Arizona. I used the app Turo. For any of you who have used that app before, it's essentially like Airbnb for cars. And I rented a 2006 Lotus Elise with a supercharger, and it was a blast. It was the probably best driving experience I've had in a car. And I haven't driven a ton of cars, I will say that, but it was a manual steering rack. Like, the steering was unmatched to anything that I've driven. Everything was so responsive. You turn the wheel even just a little bit and you're feeling exactly what the tires are doing. That to me was one of my favorite cars to drive, specifically with the supercharger and being able to hear that whine right behind your head. All right, here's second gear. That was about 8,000. Visibility is really good on this car. I think another thing that I really look for in cars, like if I was ever to purchase another one or go with something different, is I love how the RSX and like typical sports cars like this, where you can't see the hood at all. You're literally looking right down at the street, which definitely enhances that driver's feel. I think that's definitely what I look for in a sports car, is the feeling like you're just so connected to the road. And in the RSX, you're sitting, you know, I see basically the windshield wiper and then it just looks like street from there. The hood just dips straight down. I know the way I drive it, I'm not getting 26 miles to the gallon, but it's stated, I think, that the RSX gets 26 miles per gallon city and 31 highway, I believe, are the numbers. So decent gas mileage for a sports car, but I laugh sometimes the amount of things that I fit in this car. I think by the time this video goes out, I'll have already released my my video about my desk. But when I pulled up to Home Depot and told the lady that I was going to be taking home the work desk in this car, they almost just look at you like, what? They expect you to have like a truck or something. And I'm like, no, it's going to fit. I will say too, the throttle response is so nice in the RSX. It's so easy to just blip the throttle and, you know, rev match when you're going down in the next gear. Yeah, I know I brought it up before, but going back to the Acuity shifter, I was looking specifically at the two-way adjustable one because I you know, I'm not driving on the track or anything. I really don't think I need all the adjustability. And for me, like having those screws that go in to like adjust it in different ways, it's just one more screw that can like come loose or kind of fail on you. So if you have the two-way adjustable one, let me know in the comments and let me know why. Like, are the shifts just smooth? Have you had that like stickiness issue that I mentioned with the K-Tune shifter? Anything like that would be really helpful. I'm gonna keep researching, but something that's not, you know, top priority right now, because one, I don't really need to spend the money. The shifter is still pretty solid, but just when I think of things to make little improvements on still. Are you ever stuck behind someone at the grocery store? And I think to myself, how they drive their cart in the store is how they are as a driver, because that's kind of how it seems like it is. Like when you have someone in the slow lane on the highway or something, they're like the slow moving person in the grocery store, like it's their first time ever shopping in their life. It just cracks me up. I like having a sports car too, because it makes boring tasks like going to get the groceries, it makes it fun. If I had just like a, not saying I wouldn't drive a beater, because I totally would if financially I had to, but a little sports car like this, it just makes driving from A to B so much more fun. I was talking about early or like lighter weight, high revving cars before. I'm more of a fan of like the early 2000s, 90s, 80s era cars. What's your favorite lighter sports car? It's interesting, like with the car community, how different everyone is and the different styles, and whether it's nostalgia or however they grew up, what kind of influences the cars that they're into or the cars that they purchase. So I think that's been my favorite part of YouTube so far, at least from like the car community that I've met for the RSX video. Just kind of how interactive everyone was and just sharing different stories. Finding people with a shared, common interest even makes these mundane drives, I always have fun driving this thing, but it's kind of cool being able to bring you all with me. Car parts are expensive. I know I haven't really talked about the money related videos. So like when I do upgrade the car, it's, I don't have a ton of money. I do okay, but I like to save a lot too. So let me know what else you guys would like to see or topics you'd like to hear me talk about related to this car. If there's things you want to know, since I have had like 13 years of ownership or longer term ownership, are there questions I can answer or things that you're curious about if you're looking to buy an RSX? That's going to do it for today. Thanks for tagging along on this little grocery getting journey. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in.